People are saying we're losing a generation. And at some point, if this doesn't stop, we will lose a significant part of a generation of people.
The new face of addiction. It's often not what you picture. It's growing, changing, and devastating families. It's a problem that will affect everyone in Arkansas. We can and must do something to end the crisis of addiction. Tonight, we take you on a journey to show you the fight, the impact, and the recovery. We are working to save a generation.
Parker, look at me, taking your picture. Can you sing happy birthday? Happy birthday. Yeah, that's good.
Parker
Sing it again.
was the life of the party. You know, whenever Parker was around, you knew it wasn't going to be a boring time.
When you ride your bicycle.
Yeah.
Great big brother. He was a protector of his sisters. Loved to play with Brinley, read her books, and hide her in the closet when she was a baby. He was funny. He loved to make people laugh. And he never walked out the door without giving you a hug and saying, "I love you, Mom." We were very close. He told me lots of things I didn't necessarily want to know. He did start smoking marijuana at 14, and I don't believe that he did much more than that until at least a couple of years later. I think that that drugs began as an escape for him from his ADHD and his anxiety, and I think that had a lot to do with why he used. Our relationship stayed the same. I mean, he wasn't angry, or he still came around. We still talked every day, but it didn't deter him from using drugs. It was just a nightmare. There's just no other way to describe it. It didn't seem real. It still doesn't seem real, even though I've relived it over and over.
Jake was just, he was the kind of guy that all the girls wanted to date him, and all the guys wanted to be him. He loved football. He was a great football player, co-captain of the football team in his junior and senior year. He was a special kid. The first sign that we knew something was actually going on was he and a couple of his buddies were arrested in Alsop Park for purchasing painkillers. And it just started going down from there. For the first time in my life and Jake's life, I saw that he was losing control. his behavior was worse than it's ever been. It was totally out of his body. He was angry. He was visibly impaired, more so than we'd ever seen him. He was belligerent. And these are the characteristics of Jake that weren't ever there. So the plan was, I'll pick you up tomorrow. You know, that's 12 hours too late. And you'll never forget where you were. It's one of those events that it's branded into your mind. You know, your world goes pretty dark after that.
My mom always made fun of me because I always wanted to be a ballerina. I took a lot of dance classes and I did dance up until my senior year of high school. My life was it was normal. A lot of my friends were going to U of A in Fayetteville, and I decided that, you know, that's where I wanted to go, and I applied and I got in. I got into a sorority. I got, you know, moved into dorms, I made a lot of friends. I started drinking a lot, and I guess it started attracting like the wrong types of people, and I don't know, I guess I got like the wrong kinds of friends, and then I started trying new things. Whenever I found out that I could sell like my prescription pills, like it attracted wrong people. After I had like gone to college and had to move back home, I started getting involved into harder drugs because I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I couldn't make it, you know, I couldn't even get a job, you know, this isn't worth it. And so I started doing heroin. That's when I got addicted. I wanted to chase that feeling of heroin, and then eventually it led to an overdose. They attempted to like get ready to put me in a body bag, and then I woke back up and they said that the person who was on this stretcher yesterday had died from a heroin overdose, and they assumed that that's what I had been doing, and they thought it was too late. When I got to the hospital and I started to feel better, I wanted to stop. I started crying and I was like, I just want this to stop. This is embarrassing. Like, all these people now know that I'm doing this at the hospital, and I don't want to do this anymore. I didn't stay sober the first few times that I tried, but at least I kept doing the work. This person told me to call her every single day, and I did, even though that I was getting messed up. It was like giving me that responsibility of knowing that, you know, hey, I hope you realize you're getting messed up again, you're doing this again. I've been sober since September 18, 2015. I can only worry about it one day at a time. You know, I can't, you know, think about how I might want to relapse next week. I just think about today.
Do you believe in miracles? A miracle can be defined as an extraordinary event not explicable by scientific or natural laws, something that no one thought was possible. But we're all taught to never say never, to always believe in a positive outcome. Well, THV 11's Erica Ferrando and photojournalist Bree Conyers traveled to Baltimore, Maryland to bring us the story of a walking miracle from Pottsville, Arkansas.
Miracles happen every day.
1,000 miles from home in Baltimore, Maryland.
You just stay down and go side to side.
Something as simple as a ball toss for this high school athlete.
You gotta keep going.
Now means more than ever.
I thought my life was over.
June 15th, 2018, 17-year-old Drake Manus dove into a swimming pool at his girlfriend's like he had countless times before.
He wasn't moving his legs, his arms, and so I was like, okay, something's really wrong. So I dove in and I grabbed him and I had him like a baby, and he instantly spit out water and looked at me and was like, "Sydney, I'm paralyzed, please don't let me die."
When I hit the bottom, I just immediately knew I was paralyzed.
And that was really the first thing I told him in the ambulance. Start praying, Drake, right now, and you're gonna be all right.
Airlifted to Arkansas Children's, Drake suffered a broken neck and spinal cord injury. It was a freak accident. Doctors delivering the news to his parents he'd never walk again.
We've got to get him into surgery right now, and Drake's probably never going to move the neck down. And I pretty much lost it at that point. I just hit my knees.
It was hard. It was really hard. And you're just scared.
But this family decided to fight. A month later, taking their battle to an institute known for spinal cord injury.
You didn't give up.
No.
Drake and his family arrived to their destination at the Kennedy Krieger Institute here in Baltimore, but their journey to recovery was just beginning.
Go deeper, come on, go push.
When he got here,
He couldn't stand on his own.
We were basically holding him, pushing him into a chair.
he began 6 hours of therapy every day, still with an uncertain future.
It was catastrophic and thought to be permanent paralysis.
Dr. Suzanne Rupczynski, head of inpatient rehabilitation, remained optimistic, but not even she could have expected this.
Yeah, come here. He far exceeded our expectations.
Nearly 2 months after the accident,
I knew he would the whole time.
he was back on his feet, taking major steps.
He was like, "Are we really going to do this?" And, we had 2 people with us, and he needed lots of support, but he did it.
The best thing about his recovery has really been the 2 to 3 day story. Today, he's walking with a harness on and 2 or 3 people holding him. Tomorrow, no harness and a walker.
Their steps his medical team couldn't have predicted.
No, to be honest with you, I didn't, because with that type of injury that Drake had, usually people don't progress this quickly.
But steps this family had been praying for.
Just faith. We just prayed every day and kept our faith.
It's all God.
Yep, without a doubt, it's God.
Just seeing a little toe wiggle would brighten everyone's day, and then now he gets up and dances.
Since walking wasn't enough.
Yes, faster.
4 months after the accident, he's showing progress even through the Kiki Challenge.
Drake just has that natural charisma to him, and he's always had that. I would say maybe it's stronger now.
Watching the recovery before our eyes.
It just amazes everybody.
He has a very strong will, and he's a very healthy, fit, strong guy, and I think that helped him greatly.
Steps that can't be justified.
I can't explain it.
Are explained by this family as intervention from above.
Not just prayers to fix things spiritually, but God gave the doctors the brain that they have to work on Drake, and the nurses that he's had to treat him, and us the ability to make decisions to get him to the best place for the care that he needed.
Actually, he's a walking miracle. For him to be where he's at now, it's amazing.
Because sometimes even a simple ball toss
Nice.
and a step
There you go.
are miracles before our eyes.
Never give up and just keep your faith.
All right, we got to join him. Ready?
Oh yeah, everyone in. Come on, come on.
In Baltimore, Erica Ferrando, THV 11 News.
It took me a while to learn this, though.
You may have noticed Drake still has a tracheostomy in his throat to help his airway, which will require more surgery back home. Continuing his journey, find out what's next for Drake and what he wants others to learn from his story.
Yeah, part 2 of A Walking Miracle airs tomorrow night at 10, and I cannot wait to see it. I mean, it's just amazing to see all the progress he's made. I mean, the floss and the Kiki challenge, he's doing that better than some of us.
Well, and we've seen it from day one, from the accident and how the community turned out. And you have to wonder how much of an impact that community had on his ability to recover. The momentum they gave him, that they gave that family.
Yeah, he seems like a strong kid, though.
Got the whole state on his side.
Hard not to believe in a miracle after seeing that. More than 54 million Americans are expected to travel for Thanksgiving, the busiest since 2005.
And more than 4 million of those travelers are flying. And in Central Arkansas, that means a stop at Clinton National Airport.
That's where we find THV 11's Michael Aaron, who spent the day witnessing some heartfelt holiday homecomings.
Well, Denise, we've seen more of those reunions here in the last few minutes as the final flights arrive tonight. From the packing to the delays, travel can often be difficult, but the hard work and the stress often pay off.
In a world where time moves so quickly,
I ran to get here.
Seconds spent outside the arrival gate feel like hours.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
It does.
Messia and Brian Latimer spent part of Wednesday afternoon
Yeah, we made it a point this year that we were going to get together.
waiting on nephew Michael to fly in from Louisville.
That good-looking boy right there. How you doing?
The sense of gratitude they feel
Front door. Oh, there she is. Hey!
is one felt over and over
Hey, Mama. Hey, baby.
on this Thanksgiving Eve. April Harris, the youngest of 6, traveled from Fairfield, Iowa.
I'm very thankful they got me home.
I know. It started at 6 o'clock call. Mama, I thought I was flying Delta. I said, no, it's American.
Across the concourse,
She left in June and for basic training,
Pat and Daryl Cheatham can hardly wait to hug their daughter Hannah.
and this is the first time she's got to come home. Welcome home,
A moment they share with family and friends.
It's a very special day. We get her home. It's been 145 days and counting. So
Yes.
Not that we're counting.
As each family leaves here for precious time together,
I'm here for about 4 days.
it's these brief moments of joy they're most thankful for.
Now, as of right now, all flights in and out of Clinton National are scheduled and on time, but staff tells us that pretty much every flight is full, so you want to make sure to give yourself enough travel time. We're live at the airport tonight. Michael Aaron, THV 11 News.
This smells so good. It really does. We are here for another Eat It Up edition. It's super exciting. We're in West Little Rock, an area called West Village. It's on Rodney Parham. Lots of shops, places to eat, fun things to do here in a really growing part of town. Oh, I know. Let's go.
I would definitely describe it as a Central European. I'm originally from Czech Republic. I wanted to do that rustic European restaurant that everything is made from scratch. From the smoked meats to the sauces. If we couldn't make it here, we will not put it on the menu. You can always recognize whether the food is homemade or not. But I just want to make sure that, all the dishes that we put on the menu are very authentic.
It's the closest thing you have to proper fish and chips. Definitely in Little Rock.
Great ingredients. Their homemade frites are really good. Oh, and the deviled eggs. They're so good.
I can't get her to go anywhere else.
I've always wondered how they do this. Now I know.
This is an amazing dish.
Okay.
You definitely got to come in and try this. It's a roasted pork shoulder. I got garlic, caraway seeds, salt, pepper.
Any recommendations for making a good rub?
Make it. If you don't like it, try it again. Cooking is all about trial and error.
All right, so now we got some dumplings in the mix.
Oh yeah, here I have Yukon Gold potatoes that have been boiled. If you want to add that assimilated flour.
All of it?
All of it.
Knowing me, I'd pour the whole thing in and you're like, no, it's just a teaspoon.
I would die for this cheesecake, honestly. We actually had it for a wedding one time.
Cool, that's the best wedding cake I've ever heard of.
We gonna reveal our secret to our cheesecake.
What is it?
Cream. That's all you get is cream cheese.
That's it? That's all we get?
That's all you get. Kind of heat it up a little bit.
Fire!
It lets go the sides. We're gonna just take some sugar.
Oh, that looks so good.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Have you ever had the cheesecake here?
Yes. That's not quite that healthy, but it's wonderful.
Worth the calories. Yeah. So tender. Wow.
It gets better the more you eat it.
Mm-hmm.
How's that possible? Look at this explosion.
Oh, look at all that cheese. Rob is going in with the cheese.
This is amazing. We've been hiding for the last 20 years.
Rodney Parham. More food! You don't even need a bun for this. Just dip, dip, dip.
Fantastic. 2 utensils up. Hey, separate the sun. Come on.
I don't know. There's nothing over here. You got your stuff.
Welcome to our table.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And speaking of table, we're here at Southern Table in downtown Little Rock.
And Margie, the owner and chef, brought us this delectable tower of goodness. What is this, Margie?
This is Pandora. So this is a welcome cake. This is what we would make for you in Italy to welcome our special guests.
Well, it looks delicious, Rob. I'm ready to start right now.
Let's eat it up. We opened up Pandora's box.
I love it. There you go.
It's my happy place.
This is your happy place?
Yeah.
Why is this your happy place?
Because it's phenomenal.
Someone told me to try the grilled cheese sandwich with pepper jack and apple butter and shaved apples. Have you had that one?
I didn't have that one.
It is out of this world.
Really?
We love this place. Marge is just great. She's so good to her customers.
What's your favorite go-to dish if you had to say one?
Gouda grilled cheese, and they make all their own cheese. And they're also dog friendly here, so they get to come.
Every time you come, there's something different, and it's always incredible.
Oh, I love it. It's quaint. It's like tucked in here, like a hidden gem.
I really want you to feel like you are actually at my house. So I want it to be simple, casual, elegant, and it's a time for you to sit at the table and be nurtured. When you're Italian, it's kind of like you go from the womb to the kitchen. That's the truth. My happy place is in the kitchen, food and wine.
Margie, taking a look back here, your family name's on all of this.
It's just a dream come true. Balsamic vinegar and oils are the only way you can get a salad here, as I make all of my oil and vinaigrettes and stuff.
So this is the actual wine too. How many years have you guys been doing this for?
Oh gosh, over 100 years, yeah. So it takes a lot of work, but it's really so gratifying. Yes. I've been making wine since 2004. What I didn't know, and now I've discovered, is the blending process in making wine really has helped me become a very good chef in terms of being able to have those multiple layers of that flavor. We do a little bit more of the Sicilian cuisine. The spices are very Mediterranean. So that's what you'll experience here.
These mushrooms are from here, from Y Mountain?
That's right, phenomenal. Look at these beautiful things.
Another layer of scent.
Secret ingredient.
Ooh, secret ingredient.
Yes, lemon olive oil.
You've got Cabot, you've got Y, you've got North Little Rock, and you've got your garden.
Yeah, that's fun.
Bruschetta.
Mushroom bruschetta.
Bruschetta, bruschetta.
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 It's like a mini mountain. Charcuterie.
I don't know what that means, but this is beautiful. Just dig it in like a shovel.
There we go.
Make the smell before you put it in your mouth.
Ooh, it smells fresh.
I figured it out, how to drink it without slurping.
Ah.
Quite effective, actually. When you're talking Italian dining, you've got to include the meatball.
Oh yeah, it's a must. Ooh. Look at this. It's gelato on top of a brownie. Oh my God. Bruschetta. Oh, yeah.
Really, thank you. The two men accused of killing pawn shop owner Brandon McCann made their first appearance in the Jefferson County District Court this morning.
And McCann's family was there, and his wife spoke with THV 11's Erica Ferrando following the hearing.
Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry, both 21 years old from Camden, are being held without bond in the Jefferson County Jail. Today, Brandon McCann's family saw them face to face during their first court appearance.
Today we got so far what we wanted, and I praise God every day. Thank you. And Brandon, we're praying for you every day, baby, and we love you. Love you.
Sitting in the front row of the courtroom, Miranda McGann watched as the two men police arrested for killing her husband faced the judge where no bond was set.
It was very hard to see them in that room, but it was more mad than sad in a way, just to see the small two human beings that took my husband's life is just ridiculous. It's a life for nothing. So people really need to go back and think and kiss your loved ones every night because they might not be there the next day.
Brandon McCann was shot and killed November 12th while working in the Pine Bluff pawn shop he owned. After allegedly killing McCann, Daryl Strickland and Rodney Henry are accused of robbing a Pine Bluff gas station an hour later.
He was a great man and he helped the community, and what's so sad is that he's been ripped away from the community that he helped so much, and it's really going to hurt the community and all. And if this doesn't bring the community together, I don't know what else should.
Strickland admitted involvement in the murder. He told detectives their intention was to rob each location for cash. Henry denied involvement to detectives.
We're going to get them put behind bars, and other than that, we need to pull together as a community because things have not been working and something has to change.
Police identified the men after finding shell casings at a home in Pine Bluff. It was not released whose home it was, but police said that they have an acquaintance who lives there. The casings matched those left at the scene.
The small two human beings that took my husband's life is just ridiculous. It's a life for nothing.
As Strickland and Henry sit in the Jefferson County Jail, the Public Defender's Office is working to appoint 2 death penalty qualified attorneys to represent them.
There are still plenty of questions after chaos at the biggest high school football game in the state last night in Little Rock. More than 38,000 fans set an attendance record at the Salt Bowl last night. Officials from the state, local police, and the Benton and Bryant school districts are trying to figure out how a fight in the concourse and a person with a stun gun sent thousands of them scrambling. Our team coverage begins tonight with Michael Aaron live at the stadium where those officials tried to answer questions.
Well, David, we're hearing stories of terror and heroism some 24 hours after the chaos unfolded here at War Memorial Stadium. Now, park rangers, police, and sheriff's deputies are investigating this incident, and it's one that stadium officials are calling a misunderstanding of sound. A night of football takes a sudden turn toward chaos, as unfounded reports of an active shooter during the third quarter of Saturday's Salt Bowl sends the crowd of 38,000 into a panic.
Well, this is probably one of the scariest moments of my life.
I tried to calm down 2 or 3, kids that were terrified.
People were yelling, he's got a gun, there's a shooter.
This was a misunderstanding of sound. There were sounds that sounded like gunfire, but they weren't.
Meg Matthews, public information coordinator for Arkansas State Park, says during the third quarter, an altercation broke out in the concourse. At that point, park rangers say someone attending the game dry fired a stun gun. While no one was hit, they believe the sound may have been confused for gunshots, sending panic through the stadium.
As people were running out, they knocked over 3 metal barricades. Unfortunately, those metal barricades also had the sound of gunfire.
Amid the chaos, park rangers got a hold of the stun gun. The game ultimately called off. Authorities worked to reunite families separated during the stampede. Medics treated several people for leg and ankle injuries, along with heat exhaustion. While many agree this could have had a much different ending, stadium security is still being called into question, and Matthews says the state will review its procedures.
We did check people's bags last night. We did warn people if we found something in their pocket that was suspect. We found that our protocol was very successful last night.
We do not want what happened last night to overshadow all of the good that was going on yesterday. And I hope people will eventually remember the great time that they had.
While the future of the Benton-Bryan game is now up to school administrators, Salt Bowl committee member Shane Broadway says game organizers are preparing for 2019.
Our first priority is to ensure that our fans and our players and the kids in the stands are safe.
Now, those involved in the initial incident still have not been identified. Investigators are reviewing surveillance video from within the stadium, and those people involved could face charges, we're told. Now, something else to note, this situation sparked a lot of rumors, a lot of misinformation on social media. Parks officials are encouraging people to stay in tune and just stay connected with the facts in this situation. We're live tonight at War Memorial Stadium. Michael Aaron, THV 11 News.
Nathan, thank you. Our Craig O'Neill used to be the voice that echoed across War Memorial Stadium. He joins us now with his twist on the Saturday night scare in the Salt Bowl.
Well, David, some may look at what happened last night as overreaction. Some may view it as unfounded hysteria. But one THV 11 viewer who was at the game sent us a long message sharing the scenes of caring and compassion that she personally witnessed in the middle of that melee. What she pointed out to us was how the rivalry gave way to the humanity of the moment. strangers protecting one another, and safety becoming the primary objective. And if any of us doubt the importance of all this, look at what happened in Jacksonville, Florida, and the shooting that killed 3, including the gunman. It served as a reminder of the environment we're all in now. Kids are reminded of this every day. The entrances to our schools are guarded like bank vaults. No wonder we're all hyper-vigilant. There will be a Salt Bowl next year. There will be more high school football. But here's hoping there will also be a coming together of all the factions that are involved in public safety that will instill confidence in our public places and our public gatherings. Enough of the finger pointing and the blame. This has to happen. Maybe it already has started with the sensitivity, the warmth, the kindness, and the concern of the people of Saline County. See you at Salt Bowl 20. We'll be back.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dawn Scott.
And I'm Denise Middleton. We're taking a break from our typical newscast tonight to shine a light on a growing problem affecting thousands of families, including right here in Arkansas. Mothers are dying during and after childbirth at an alarming rate.
We believe mothers matter and that this issue needs investigating. We begin tonight with an Arkansas man's heart-wrenching story of new life and hope ripped from underneath him, all by something he says could have been prevented.
That's me right there.
Okay. And your daughter?
That's Nikki there.
By all accounts, Charles and Marva Harris lived a picture-perfect life. Married in 1975, Charles adored his new bride.
She's had a soft heart, especially for her family.
The couple was living in Ohio, there for successful careers at Procter & Gamble. Charles, an engineer, Marva, a chemist and manager.
Everything she participated in, she did it with a passion.
And that passion extended into her role as mom as well. Charla Nicole, whom they called Nikki, was born in 1978. The family of 3 remained 3 until 1989.
We got a clean bill of health that said it was okay to get pregnant.
The couple was expecting baby number 2. Marva was 35 years old at the time.
The pregnancy started out fine.
But by month 7, something went wrong.
She started expressing that she just wasn't feeling well, and she was sort of struggling a little bit.
Diagnosed with preeclampsia, a condition marked by high blood pressure and swelling, the doctor placed Marva on bed rest. But one day she felt so bad she called Charles at work. He rushed home and took Marva to the hospital.
Things were looking good after she was there for a couple of days. The doctor was thinking that, okay, she'd probably go home maybe the next day.
But that next day never came for Marva.
About 6 o'clock the next morning, I get a call from the hospital from one of the nurses saying, Mr. Harris, we need you to come to the hospital right away. Your wife is not responding to resuscitation efforts. I'm in disbelief. I'm praying and trying to process in my mind, what's going on, that they're saying that they got to try to resuscitate her. They finally told me, that we were unable to resuscitate your wife. So we lost her and the baby. I'm a person that doesn't cry much, but just sort of lost it.
Charles' soon-to-be family of 4 was now a family of 2, a single dad to 11-year-old Nikki.
My daughter was left without a mother who would never see her graduate from high school, never see her graduate from college, never see, her grandchildren.
Charles and Nikki lived in quiet grief, mourning the loss of Marva and what turned out to be another little girl.
I didn't know until I got a call from the funeral, people telling me, that I had a baby daughter there, and they wanted to know, did they want to bury her with her mom or in a separate casket.
Charles was plagued with questions. What happened that night? Why did his beloved wife and daughter die? He poured his grief into not only an endowment at his wife's alma mater, Florida A&M University, in Marva's name, but also into an inquiry to find out what happened that night inside that Ohio hospital.
The death certificate came back and said was hypertensive heart disease and preeclampsia.
Both conditions treatable in pregnant women. But the night before her death, nurses reported Marva coughing.
The coughing was really an indicator that her body was taking on fluid excessively.
Nurses also took lab tests which showed Marva was in distress, but the results weren't seen by a doctor until it was too late.
If he had been notified immediately when those lab results were available rather than just going through the normal process, he would have immediately taken the baby. And also it's my understanding that if he had done that, the outcome probably would have been different.
As part of a settlement, Harris demanded the hospital tighten protocol when it comes to pregnancy complications.
Nobody wants this kind of thing to happen to anybody else if you got any kind of heart about you.
He stopped short of calling it malpractice, but instead says we need education, training, and standards in place.
Something, quote, as routine as pregnancy, we can become too complacent, and that's just her with her colleagues.
These days, Charles Harris lives back home in Arkansas with cherished memories and pictures and a vow to save others from the same heartache he carries with him each day.
When I think about, the talent and the drive that my wife has, you can't help but think, it's like if she had lived.
One of the most unsettling questions surrounding maternal mortality nationwide: why are Black women affected more than any other race?
And what can we do here at home to change these statistics? Stay with us.
Just want a home. I want to have a nice family.
It's like a loving and caring family.
I would like a family that would take care of me.
There's a family out there for every child. We just have to work harder for you.
Ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Welcome y'all to our annual adoption special, a place to call home for the holidays, and it is all about the Christmas spirit here. Okay, we're gonna open presents because I think that these children have been sitting here for about 10 minutes holding a Christmas present. They've seen Santa, and I think we count to 10. What do y'all think? We count from 10 backwards and then everybody opens? What do you think? Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas! Check it out! Chimes and whistles and happy faces. Big hearts here tonight. These gifts were given by the Knowledge Tree, a group of attorneys in town led by Jay Martin, also the Jacksonville Kroger, and a man named Barry Jones who lives in Northeast Arkansas. You know what? Along with these happy faces, there are 7 more happy faces tonight from Arkansas Foster Care who have a reason to celebrate. They are home tonight for the holidays. 7 siblings. And THV 11's Jordan Howington reports the Hawthorne family's adoption was finalized just weeks before Christmas.
First words were, okay, we'll do it for a couple years, but we're not going to adopt.
These were Terry and Michael Hawthorne's words when they chose to become foster parents. Now they laugh, saying they ate their words. In April, the couple adopted a set of 2 siblings, Corgan and Hazley. And days ago, they added 7 more to the mix.
It feels good to actually have a family to wake up to every morning.
A set of 7 siblings who wants to share their story with you.
Like, we never had anything like this.
To these kids, life means the little things.
I was like, oh my gosh, you get our own bed.
Something they never had before.
We had like 1 bed in the room and most of us slept on the floor.
Coming from a life at an early age, having to defend for themselves.
The times we got to eat was either when the neighbors snuck us a bag of chips
they'd turn to canned food.
We didn't really have a can opener, and they'd give us the cans that we didn't know how to open.
So many times they went without, praying every day they'd find a set of parents to give them love.
These kids did not ask to come to foster care. They did not ask to go to 4 or 5 different homes, 4 or 5 different schools.
After years of fighting, on December 3rd, the Hawthorns officially adopted the 7 kids. And today, they showed off all their rooms and favorite toys and told me what they look forward to the most.
Having food on my plate and not anything with bugs all in it.
They all have aspirations to become successful, from being a gymnast to becoming a country singer. The Hawthorns say there's one thing for sure.
They don't have the worry of being taken away.
I have something. Mom, Dad, I love you guys, and I wouldn't change it for the world. This has been the best Christmas I could ever have, actually, knowing I have a mom and dad.
In Hot Springs, Jordan Howington, THV 11 News.
The largest crowd in Arkansas high school football history started to panic when loud banging sounds could be heard outside War Memorial Stadium. The fear of gunfire turns out to be unfounded, but the emotion in the stadium was real. We'll take you to War Memorial for the latest.
Don't tell me what we can't do. Don't tell me we can't make our country stronger and the world safer. We can. We must.
One of the most revered members of Congress of this generation, a man who fought in Vietnam for his beliefs and at times against his own party. John McCain's fight is over. We'll honor the life of the longtime Arizona senator. At the biggest high school football game in Arkansas, a fight and loud bangs send a scare across War Memorial Stadium. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Littman. Fans at the annual Salt Bowl game scrambled for the exits early in the third quarter. Reports of a gun and popping noises followed a fight in the stands, which was filled with a record number of fans. The game between Benton and Bryant has been canceled. Our Dorian Kraft and Michael Aaron saw it all unfold and join us live with the latest on the situation right now.
If you have lost car keys and you can hear my voice around the stadium.
Well, David, just a very scary situation here at War Memorial Stadium about an hour ago as those reports of gunshots came in. Also, a stampede of sorts in the end zone here. Dorian, you were here for all of that just before 9 o'clock in the third quarter, fourth quarter?
Third quarter, so it was about 9:44 left in the third quarter. I was actually down on the far sideline on the Benton side of the field. Brian had just scored a touchdown, and I looked up in the stands, and there was a wave of people running, and I didn't see anything, and it kind of, I thought it was a joke almost. I thought it was, you have rival students, and it almost looked as if it was students running. They started from the student section and ran across, so it almost looked like students were playing a prank, and then I look out to the field, and the Bryant team is huddled underneath the wall. They are panicking, they're clearing the field, and it looks like right now we are almost about ready to go to a press conference.
From Park Rangers, we're going to hear from State Police Officer Jason Perry he's a Park Ranger, going to address the media right now. So we're going to turn our attention to him as we speak.
Okay, folks, good evening. My name is Jason Perry. I'm a Park Ranger with Arkansas State Parks. Tonight, a little after 9 o'clock, we had a scare here in the stadium during the Salt Bowl game. And our Park Rangers went ahead and followed protocol and began evacuating the stadium. Okay, once we had the stadium secured and knew that it was safe, then we began the process of reuniting families with lost ones, because there's a lot of folks that kind of scattered during the scare. We began that process, which is ongoing and just about to be wrapped up. I believe there was just a few outstanding at last notice. At some point, both schools decided to go ahead and cancel the game. For the safety of the fans and the people involved, they decided to go ahead and cancel the game. So the game was canceled, and we went ahead and began evacuating the rest of the stadium. Okay, at that point, there were a few injuries. Most of them were heat-related, unrelated to the scare. And so medical staff was right on the spot and was able to attend to all of the injuries and evacuate them as necessary and treat them as necessary. We want to thank Little Rock Police Department and the Benton PD, Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, who all acted admirably during this scare. Everybody was professional and did what was needed to be done. The medical staff that was on board also was there on the spot, ready to act and treated patients accordingly. The stadium security did their job as well. Everybody kind of acted together as a team to evacuate the stadium and secure the stadium, make sure it was safe, tend to the families, tend to the injured. Okay, and we've pretty much wrapped that up. If you have any further questions, if you need more information, you can contact the Arkansas State Parks Director's Office. That number is 501-682-7743.
And as you guys have
Thank you very much. And that's Park Ranger Jason Perry. He tells us tonight that families are still working to be reunited after this scare here at War Memorial Stadium. And again, thanking the coordinated response from law enforcement from both Pulaski and Saline County. Now, we do know again that the injuries were from heat related. We also did see some people with splints on their ankles on the field after that stampede of sorts. No word on how serious the injuries are tonight, but of course something that we're going to stay on top of for you as this scary situation unfolded here at War Memorial Stadium. Little Rock Police confirming no shots fired, so certainly good news there, Dorian.
It is certainly good news, but people here certainly believed that gunshots were the case. People fled. They didn't know exactly what was going on. Multiple people came up to me and asked me what was going on. I repeated what I had heard was that a police officer told me that they had a report of a gun and to get to a safe place to let your friends and family know that you were okay. They cleared the stadium, and once they made sure it was okay and safe for fans to re-enter, they did start and come back to have fans. They were going to replay this game until they ultimately decided that it was unsafe.
And we are going to hear from Shane Broadway from the Salt Bowl right now.
On behalf of the Salt Bowl Committee, I want to thank the War Memorial Stadium staff, the Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism, Little Rock PD, Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, Bryan and Benton PD, all who have been here. We're here during the incident tonight. We will continue to work with everyone throughout the investigation because our goal is to find out what happened. Because we want to know for our parents, for our students, and for our players exactly what happened to here tonight. And the main thing is we don't want the incident that occurred tonight to overshadow the good that happened here tonight. There were 38,215 fans enjoying a heck of a football game, a great tailgate party. We raised a record amount of peanut butter to help the people in our communities. And I know that what happened tonight may overshadow some of that. But I wanted to say something on behalf of our committee and both of our school districts that a lot of good did happen here tonight. And we're going to get to the bottom of what did occur that caused this incident because at the end of the day, whoever caused it needs to be brought to justice because kids lost tonight. Kids who worked their butts off all summer long to play in a football game that means a lot to both of these communities. Whoever started this incident, for whatever reason, impacted a lot of kids and a great night that they were having tonight. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your cooperation and help. And we'll, as soon as we know more information, obviously, we want to share that with you. Thanks.
Will you be issuing an official statement once you...
All right, Shane Broadway with the Salt Bowl Committee there. David, we're going to send it back to you. We're going to keep gathering information, bring you the latest tomorrow and on THV11.com. Back to you.
Michael, Dorian, our thanks. To our other major story tonight, Senator John McCain died today after a long fight with cancer. He was 81 years old. A military man his entire life, he went from prisoner of war to the heights of politics. He became known as the Maverick in one presidential campaign and then the Republican champion in another. Chris Martinez examines the life of a man who, regardless of one's political views, was seen as a true American hero.
His straight-talking style won Senator John McCain respect, even if people didn't agree with his politics. His war experience helped him win the 2008 Republican presidential nomination and President Bush's blessing.
John showed incredible courage, and strength of character, and perseverance in order to get to this moment. And that's exactly what we need in a president.
That strength of character was shaped by military service and adversity. McCain's father and grandfather were both admirals, and young John followed them into the service. But as a Navy fighter pilot in 1967, McCain crashed and was captured by the North Vietnamese. During 5 years of captivity, the Viet Cong tortured McCain's body, but they never broke his spirit.
I'm sure that I will get well.
McCain later brought that same fighting spirit to politics. His independence often angered members of his own party.
Boy, that's outrageous.
In Congress, McCain worked to strengthen the military, rein in government spending, and reform campaign finance.
Don't tell me what we can't do. Don't tell me we can't make our country stronger and the world safer. We can. We must.
After losing the 2008 presidential election to Barack Obama, McCain faced a difficult primary challenge for his Senate seat in 2010, but he persevered and won.
I intend to go back to Washington, and I intend to get to work.
McCain was married twice and had 7 children. His second wife, Cindy, a philanthropist, was often by her husband's side during his campaign appearances and his battles with cancer. He was first diagnosed with melanoma in 1993. Then in July 2017, doctors found a brain tumor. He made a triumphant return to the Senate and cast a deciding vote on health care. McCain's dedication to family and country and his courage of conviction won him admiration worldwide. To his many fans, John McCain was and always will be a real American hero. Chris Martinez, CBS News.
Oh, summer did return in a big way this weekend with meteorologist Nathan Scott here in the Weather Center. And Nathan, you've been tracking how long this is going to stick around, and stick would be the key word there.
Yeah, Thursday we had a little taste of fall, but it was just a teaser because summer is back in full force and it will be sticking around for the next week at least, maybe even into early September. But let's talk about what's happening out there right now on the satellite radar view. It is all quiet. There's been a few clouds in northern sections of the state where they did see even a spotty shower. But here are the highs for today. 93 in Little Rock, 94 in Hot Springs, 97 in El Dorado. And we're going to do it again for your Sunday. You heard at the press conference from War Memorial Stadium that there were heat-related illnesses. So make sure you stay hydrated and try to limit your time out in the sun, especially during the peak heating of the day. Temperatures topping out into the low to mid-90s. I'll let you know if there's any rain in my forecast to possibly cool us down coming up.
Local animal shelters often struggle to adopt out their dogs and cats and avoid reaching capacity. Today, the Humane Society of Pulaski County opened its doors to people who could be a short-term solution for pets in need.
It is a big commitment.
But fostering animals isn't too big a commitment for Troy Brazil.
No, my family started fostering 9 years ago now, and now we're 117 animals into it. So it's very fulfilling, and I would definitely recommend it for anybody that's wanting to give back and loves animals.
Aside from its full-time staff, the Humane Society has a network of a couple dozen volunteer families that regularly foster animals for a few weeks, either those that are too old or sick to adopt or too young. Brazil admits that some of them take a lot of effort.
It works well for people who are retired, who are home-based, or if they've, we've got a lot of homeschool families that do fostering with their kids.
Brazil led a seminar Saturday morning for people who are considering fostering. The shelter placed more than 200 animals with fosters last year and wants more families to help share the load.
Working with these little bitty ones, it is so rewarding, especially when you see them, their little gains they make every day.
Monique Harvey is on her second round right now. She says bottle feeding a kitten until it's old enough to be adopted is an amazing responsibility.
It is just so rewarding, making such a difference in a tiny little life.
And if you'd like to find out about how to foster animals, you can call the Humane Society. We will have the number for you on the digital version of this story at thv11.com. Nora Shield and Herb Swanson are both in their 80s and both took part in the Run with the Flock in Little Rock to benefit leukemia and lymphoma patients. They crossed the finish line, and then, after getting their medals, Herb had an even bigger prize to give to her. And yes, Beverly said yes. They've known each other for about 15 years, according to her family, and started getting closer by exercising together and competing in races like this one. Well, we did get a break this past week from the hot, sticky weather, but Southern came back with a vengeance today. Nathan will show us how much so in his detailed forecast next.
Now, weather from the CraneTeam.com Weather Garden.
We have clear skies over the Weather Garden right now, and if you look to the east, you can see a moon that appears to be pretty full.
I think it is pretty full, and it's actually called the Sturgeon Moon.
Sturgeon moon.
For this time of the year, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess that's when the Native Americans did the fishing. Because most of the moons are related somehow to what the Native Americans were seeing or growing or some sort of that. So
sturgeon's a good catch, so I'm happy to have this moon around.
But it is muggy out here. It's the, what you were saying earlier.
The air is so thick you could cut it with a bowling ball tonight.
Yeah. I've heard it, you know, you can cut it with a knife, but bowling ball, it's a pretty sharp bowling ball. But anyway, yeah, it is tropical. It is soupy out here. It is sultry. And today's high above average. Yeah. So 93 was the high for today. We haven't seen temperatures above average for quite some time. So I think that's why it was kind of a little shock to the system with it being so hot out there for this afternoon. And this is going to be the trend over the next several days. 92 is our average high for this time of year. The low this morning, 69. So we actually got below 70, but I think for tonight, we should stay into the 70s. 79 is the number right now at the Little Rock Airport. The dew point, 76, and that's why it's just so soupy out there right now. The relative humidity, 90%, and just a very light breeze from the south at 5 miles per hour. Temperatures across the rest of the natural state, upper 70s to lower 80s. It's 84 in Hot Springs, 77 in Clinton, 77 in West Memphis, and 82 in Monticello. And as we take a look at the dew points out there, into the mid to upper 70s, and that is almost like walking through the rainforest. So as we take you through day by day here on the real field, because temperatures will be into the low to mid 90s with all that humidity, the real fields or heat indices will be in the dangerous category for Sunday, also into Monday, just below heat advisory criteria, but it sees a little bit of a dip as we head to Wednesday and Thursday, and that's because we'll see more clouds and also a better chance of some showers and storms. Lows for tonight, though, only dropping down to the low to mid 70s, and then we're back up into the low to mid 90s for our Sunday. So it is going to be a toasty Sunday all throughout Arkansas. Satellite radar showing nothing. Mostly clear skies in place. There were some showers well to the north of us, but here is the weather story. This ridge of high pressure, this is an area of sinking air, and it also acts like a wall. So all these showers and storms in New Mexico and Texas have to go up and over the ridge. That will send them into Missouri and Illinois. For us, we stay dry. Slim chance there might be a stray shower popping up for tomorrow, but summer is in no rush to leave. Our next chance of showers and storms will be arriving for Wednesday and also into Thursday. 72 for tonight, moonlit skies and mosquitoes. That's what I'm calling for. 94 for the high on your Sunday. Plenty of sun. Here's your extended forecast. Temperatures staying into the low to mid 90s with that 40% chance of scattered showers and storms on Wednesday and Thursday. David?
Parts of Hawaii have been swamped in recent days by nearly 4 feet of rain. As Maria Villarreal shows us, in many places it's still pouring as Tropical Storm Lane slowly moves away from the islands.
Hawaii's Big Island bore the brunt of the storm's wrath. After more than 3 days of rain, they've recorded almost 4 feet of water. In one Hilo neighborhood, rivers overflowed, sending rushing water down the streets.
It's just the volume of water, it couldn't hold it already. I've never seen that before, and then the small bridge plugged up above, and that's what flooded all of these houses.
Strong wind shear tore through Lane Friday night, downgrading it to a tropical storm.
We dodged a bullet. Doesn't mean it's over. We're going to have rain and wind and local flooding, and we need to be vigilant.
So I just put everything in plastic bags so it wouldn't get wet.
Businesses in Maui prepared for the worst as Hurricane Lane peaked at a Category 5 before making landfall. Were you taking Hurricane Lane seriously?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I've seen a lot of storms here, but the way the path showed, yeah, I knew it was going to be something big.
As many as 17,000 residents across the Hawaiian Islands lost power during the storm. Some of it was knocked out when high winds fanned fires in Maui and Oahu.
I would just like to emphasize that there still is the potential for flash flooding and rain damage.
Beaches and parks in Oahu and Maui are reopening, but Tropical Storm Lane isn't expected to clear out for the next few days. In the islands, they are expecting more rain and high surf, and that could bring the potential for mudslide as well as more flooding, especially on the Big Island, where the ground is already saturated with so much rain. Videa Villarreal, CBS News, Maui, Hawaii.
There is anger in Ireland as Pope Francis arrives in that country amid a worldwide sexual abuse crisis in the Catholic Church. Pope Francis today became the first pope to visit Ireland in nearly 40 years. Francis said he feels the same pain, shame, and outrage as many people feel caused by the church's sex abuse cover-ups. Jonathan Vigliotti is with the Pope in Ireland.
Pope Francis addressed sex abuse directly in his first speech inside Dublin Castle, saying the church must remove the scourge at whatever moral cost. The failure of the ecclesial authorities, bishops, religious superiors, priests, and others to adequately address these repugnant crimes has rightly given rise to outrage, he said. They were familiar words, some first penned by the Pope in his letter to all Catholics earlier this week. Ireland's Prime Minister, who hosted the Pope, said they weren't enough.
As you've said, there can only be zero tolerance for those who abuse children or facilitate that abuse. And we must now ensure that from words flow actions.
Today's noticeably small crowds, another strong message. When Pope John Paul II visited in 1979, he was greeted by more than 2.5 million faithful.
Young people of Ireland, I love you.
I believed him, and it really meant something to me. And a year and a half later, I was raped by a priest for the first time.
Colm O'Gorman says he was abused when he was 14 years old.
They have no moral authority because at the highest level of the institution they colluded with, they facilitated, and they covered up those crimes. And they allowed them to go unchecked.
And this evening, the Pope met privately with several victims of church abuse. Tomorrow, he will say Mass before a crowd of about 500,000 people. Hundreds more are expected to protest. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Dublin.
The Salt Bowl should be one of the year's biggest celebrations. Instead, it was a giant scare tonight. We'll head back to War Memorial next. A huge crowd and great football game overwhelmed by the fear of gunfire at War Memorial Stadium. Dorian and Michael are back with us again live from the stadium for the latest from the Salt Bowl.
Hey, David, and you're right. You know, the fear of gunshots really overshadowed what was turning out to be a fantastic Salt Bowl, not just the game itself, but the atmosphere. Michael and I were out here before with the tailgaters. Everyone was really excited. This was a record crowd. They raised a record number of peanut butter. All in all, it was a great night until this happened.
We're talking about 38,000 people here tonight, and we heard from Shane Broadway. He's on the committee for the Salt Bowl. He said really everyone, all of the kids here lost tonight. You know, Bryant was up, but this was a loss for all the kids, something that we certainly haven't seen in the history of the Salt Bowl and really here at War Memorial Stadium to our knowledge, Dorian. Just a very terrifying situation as we see people running from the stadium, running from the stands onto the field, and some people even injured as a result of that. Thankfully, no gunshots fired here tonight, according to LRPD, but the game was canceled, as we know.
Right, the game was canceled right now. We still don't have any additional information about when or even if they will replay the Salt Bowl. And as you can see, the game was exciting. As you can see behind us, the Arkansas Park Rangers, thank you, Michael. They are currently sweeping the stands just to ensure that this is a safe location, that nothing else is going on. But, you know, people here, not only was there an initial stampede when they first heard that there might be gunshots, but then there was a second wave. People just really not a lack of communication, but so much going on. And it was so loud that the people couldn't even make an announcement.
And we know that there's a scene still unfolding outside, people trying to reunite with their families.
Right, and people didn't know if it was unsafe to leave, to stay. They didn't know where to go. A lot of people just ducking along the sidelines for cover, you know, trying to call out, but the phone lines were jammed. It's a very scary situation.
And, you know, I just spoke with a former Benton football player who graduated about 5 years ago or so. He injured his wrist a little bit as he tried to jump a fence. Just speaks to the chaos involved in this situation. So, again, an investigation ongoing. We do know that several people were injured. We're going to work to learn how many people, how severe their injuries are, and we're going to keep you updated on THV11.com and in our newscast tomorrow at 5:30 and 10 p.m. But just an unfortunate scene here tonight, and again, one that we'll stay on top of. Unfortunate
scene, unfortunate situation. Most important thing, nobody was hurt, no gunshots, everyone is safe. So THV 11 News will be back after the break.
So Nathan, more of the same coming for us?
I know you're thinking about fall because we're getting closer and closer to September. Well, get that out of your head because as we take a look at the last week of August, it's going to be toasty. Temperatures low to mid 90s. Rain chances go for Wednesday and Thursday. 40% chance of scattered showers and storms.
All right. Thank you much, Nathan. Thank you much for joining us tonight. We'll be back at 5:30 tomorrow evening. Hope you have a good rest of your night.